Okay, part 2. We ran out of storage the first one. This is not what I wanted to do. I want it all in one video, but it's fine. Maybe I'll edit it together. Maybe. Okay.
Backdrop.
So, all the lines of, that should be everyone's goal, to lift up Mjolnir, to lift up Thor's hammer, to be the best people possible. And in my opinion, that means we need to accept everyone's opinions. We need to hear contradicting opinions to not only increase our knowledge, but to also make someone else feel good, right? Enhance our knowledge, enhance our views, enhance everything to be the best people possible. That is what this podcast is. I want to inspire the world with free speech and to just help people and help their minds, help them if it's through politics, religion, fitness, you know what I mean? That is the new goal of this channel. That is the moniker of the channel, to lift up Mjolnir. That is what we're doing. Yeah. To be kings of the hill, we must lift up Thor's hammer.
And we respect women here too.
Of course. Respect women.
We're open to all ideas.
Yeah. And that leads to you. You see, to lift up Thor's hammer, we have to be mentally strong, religiously strong, in whatever you want. And that's why I'm actually thinking of inviting people over to this podcast who are Muslim, who are Buddhist, who are even Christian, who are atheists. And I don't want to say the word debate them, but I want to ask them tough questions respectfully, and I want them to ask me tough questions respectfully, because I want to enhance my knowledge, I want to enhance their knowledge, and I'm not going to try and convert them. They're not going to try and convert me. I just want to enhance everyone's knowledge at the table. Enhance our wisdom, if you will. Because that's the goal, to lift up Thor's hammer. So we need to be religiously and mentally as strong as possible. So Aiden, you just recently you're Catholic, right?
Yeah.
And I did not tell him I was going to ask him about this, but
No, he didn't.
But I want to ask you about it. And there's a reason I want to ask you about it, and I'll get to the reason. But I'm going to ask you a couple questions about why you chose to be Catholic, and some more of the popular contradictories that you're going to get. And the reason I'm going to ask you this is because I'm curious how you're going to reply, and I want you to have good responses, because if you're asked this in the future from somebody else, maybe you can make them convert to Catholicism, make them start following God.
I can't do that.
Right?
Only God can do that.
Yes, but for example, Paul. Marshall Paul, for you guys who have been around on the channel.
I mean, he's still Paul.
Yeah, yeah. He's Catholic. And we would have these conversations all the time. Very respectful and great conversations. But I would tell him what I thought about, some contradictories on Catholicism. And he would ask me some contradictions of Christianity. Because I'm Christian. I believe in God, the Holy Bible.
Catholics are Christians.
Yes, but there's
Catholics, Christians, Orthodox.
There's a bunch of different.
They're all Christians.
Yeah.
We all believe in the same God. I personally think we're all still going to heaven. But there are a couple contradictories from Catholicism that are very popular. And I'm going to ask you this, not to put you on the spot, not to be mean to you. I want to see what your response is, because I want to see because there could be people who come up to you in your life and ask you this. And again, the point of this podcast is to enhance all of our thinkings. That's just Tucker. Leave him alone. So Aiden.
I haven't been doing this very long.
Well, no, it's okay. Well, what made you become Catholic? What made you choose Catholicism?
Well, there's a few parts to that.
Name them off. Let's go. Yeah, it's okay.
First of all, chill out. Second of all,
what do you mean chill?
Yeah, you just full whole plate of questions, and you went, yo, here's some questions right in front of them,
Yeah. Oh, okay, kind of putting him on the spot, kind of not. I just want to see what you say. I think it'd be helpful for viewers. What made you come Catholic?
It's kind of weird for a first episode, but
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer. Just answer what you want to answer.
I'm gonna answer.
Well, of course, yeah. Don't do anything you're not comfortable with.
But yeah, I've just been in several churches throughout my life. I've been inside of Calvary Chapel. I've been inside of a synagogue.
Let's not talk about Calvary Chapel.
I've been inside of
that one's bad.
Several places, and I just felt most at home at our local Catholic church. Well, I'm not supposed to say what it is because we're not telling you what city we live in, but
yeah.
Yeah, and well, my grandparents are Catholic, and I probably grew up more in that church than any other church, even though I have been in several churches growing up. But
What about that church made you feel comfortable?
I don't know, maybe that was like an actual, they were doing like actual worship services, and the other places I would go would be like my mom taking me to non-denominational churches and them having like really loud songs and a guy with like an earpiece. I mean, they not like an
Or
earpiece,
the little
like a
mic,
job.
like a little, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that they wear. I mean, they wear them.
Either here or
They wear them
yeah.
at my church too. But like he's going on about like his sermon.
Mhm.
But usually a priest's homily is specifically about the readings, whereas the sermon is usually about whatever he feels like. That's how I remember it. I could be
Yeah.
wrong and it could differ, but that's
No,
just,
I agree with that.
Most churches are like that.
yeah, well, non-denominational ones. I mean, like even other denominations like Protestants and Lutherans and Episcopalians,
Yeah.
they have like set procedures, but
Yeah.
like you see these videos of like non-denominational churches and they have like people on wires and roller skaters doing performances.
And like
So-
being lifted up in the top of the room.
I mean, I'd rather these people like be in a church at all than like
Yeah.
sitting at home jacking it. But like,
So it's just the church itself that made you convert?
that's the way they go about things.
So, like, what if you had negative experiences in like every church, but you were treated the best in like a Buddhist temple? Would you be Buddhist?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I do kind of feel the presence of God everywhere, that everything's a bit too perfect. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it could be possible, but that's just not what happened.
I'm challenging it because, like, you do believe that God is real?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I believe in God, and I was going to say more importantly, but I'd say more specifically rather than more importantly, I believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah, personally, like most people here believe in, it doesn't matter to whatever denomination you are, as long as you believe in the Christ,
The Trinity.
the Trinity. He died, he came back after 3 days, and he died so we can all be free from sin, and that's all you need to know. And was it people go to church not just to be with the church, but also like to build their relationship with Christ?
Yeah.
That's the most important part. You
So-
don't go to church because, oh yeah, I'm Christian, I have to go to church. You go to church because you want to learn more about God.
Well, it's a major sin for Catholics not to go to church.
Really?
Yeah,
Let's say you just can't make it to church.
that's different.
That's different.
It's a sin to willingly skip out and go into church, but
Okay.
like being in a place where there's no churches or like on a cruise, you get an exception because you're not really. I mean, a cruise. I don't know. I never planned any of that kind of stuff out, but from what I understand is that if you don't have a choice or it's out of your control, then like you get a pass.
Okay.
So, Aiden, let me tell you a story in like 2 sentences. When I was in kindergarten, and a little biased, I went to Christian school my whole life up until freshman year of high school. When I was in kindergarten, I was given a lesson. The teacher who was teaching like the chapel at the time, she gave us all these keys and had a lock in the front of the room and said, "This is the lock that gets you into heaven." And everyone had different keys with notes on them that were handing out randomly. One kid had a key that said, "Be a good person. Don't get into heaven." One person had a key that said, "I go to church. Not get into heaven." I went through all these keys, and one key, the final key that said, "I believe Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins. I believe he's my Lord and Savior." Ching ching, get into heaven. And that's just personally what I believe is that, like, obviously you have to be a good person to get into heaven. Obviously you have to do all that, right? But really what gets you into heaven is to believe Jesus Christ is your holy Savior, right? So
Yeah, but there are also exceptions like remote tribes on islands who don't know about Christ will
Yes.
still go to heaven.
and that's actually why I said, like the Bible said, God will judge people fairly. He obviously knows there's going to be people who haven't had the chance to learn about
Also,
him, right?
In that Revelation, he's gonna bring everyone back from the dead. So
Yeah.
basically, to get everyone, I think, a second chance, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm still learning more about it.
I'm reading the Bible in chronological order, and
a
I have
good
not
idea.
gotten to Revelations. I just finished Numbers.
Was it?
Numbers. You're at.
I'm reading the 4 Gospels, and right now I'm on Luke.
So
Yeah.
I'm not the most knowledgeable person to ask about these things, but I am
Same here.
Aiden.
Yeah.
So
Sorry if I interrupted you, man.
He's Clarence.
Hi.
So I'm going to give you some more popular contradictions on Catholicism. And I want to see your answer because I want you to be equipped. Maybe that's a good word. I want you to be equipped to answer them if someone else, One question I would ask Paul is, and he would always give a good response. Paul always gave really good responses to everything. So one thing that I saw and that a lot of people saw, is it true that you guys bow to the statue of Mary?
No.
No? Or is that just certain other Catholics?
Maybe some people do, but I've never seen anyone do that.
Okay, maybe not your church, but Paul used to tell me that people would bow to the statue of Mary. Do you guys think that's, correct or good?
I don't know. I don't think it's we don't worship Mary.
We respect.
Yeah, we honor Mary as the mother of God. There's I don't know the words, but there's levels of respect that you give the saints, and then you give Mary, and then God and the Trinity, they get the most.
Respect?
Yeah. It's honor or
Yeah.
something, and Mary gets the second most, and then God gets the most. That's Tucker.
So bowing has always been a form of worship in the Bible. So that's why a lot of people have been getting upset at the Catholic Church for bowing to the statue of Mary, because we don't worship Mary, right? We worship God and Jesus Christ.
The only time we really bow is when we sit in a pew, but men are supposed to kneel, women bow, or men bow if they have bad knees, or when they bring in the Eucharist and people prostrate themselves because that's the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus.
For us, what we do is before we go to receive the Eucharist, we some people would do is either they bow, they head bow, or they do the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
We bow when the person in front of us is doing it.
And then before we do the for Catholics, do you guys do a Holy Communion prayer before you do the Eucharist? That's because that's what we do for Episcopalians, because we're kind of mixed between Catholics and Protestants.
The priest consecrates the way for the unleavened bread. And so I think that is kind of a prayer.
Same, yeah.
There's not a prayer that you individually have to recite, but as a congregation, there is stuff you say.
Yeah.
You do kneel, but...
Do you use the pews to kneel?
Yeah, they have little things that come out.
That slide down?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. You know what I talk about.
Yeah, we have those.
Yeah.
They're cushions, too.
So, and that's why I actually struggled with that because of how to view it. Because if you look at Asian cultures, bowing is a form of respect. You know what I mean? And, maybe bowing to the statue of Mary is just, respect. Like you said, so that was a good answer. But, I don't know, me personally, I think, would you say bowing, just standing up is a form of respect, but bowing on, your knees, is that a form of worship? Does it matter how you bow? Where is there a line between bowing of respect and worship?
I think there is a bit of a difference.
Because all throughout the Bible, there's people who bow to idols and stuff.
Well, I don't know. They just say bow. I don't know if they say prostrate themselves, and so I need more context about what an individual case. But generally doing how you would see a stereotypical Asian person doing that kind of bow, maybe wouldn't be as bad as worship than if they were on their knees and prostrating themselves, because you're only really supposed to do that when in front of God and Jesus. You're not supposed to do that in front of Mary.
Okay.
Some people might, but I was never taught to do that.
That was a good reply. That's about what Paul would say too. That was just a form of respect, not worship. That was good. Here's another one, and this one might be. This one's interesting. Paul always gave a really good reply to this one, and this is the other big contradictory that people have towards Catholicism.
I don't know what you mean by contradictory.
People Christianity and Christian people, why they aren't Catholic is because they don't.
Controversy, is that the word you're thinking of?
I don't know about controversy. I don't know the exact wording, but people also look at the fact that is it called confession?
Yeah.
So in Christianity, we were always told that if we sinned, to ask God for forgiveness directly, to be in prayer. I think it says in the Bible how to pray, be in a quiet place, to be alone, have your own relationship with God. and Catholicism. I'm not super knowledgeable in how it works, but isn't it like you meet with the priest and he, like, you tell him your sins and he brings it up to God? Is that how it works?
It's more like advice. They
Well-
give you like to help you.
You're both kind of wrong.
Oh,
So what happens in confession, and I have issues, so I go to confession every week, and it's the same issues too every week, is you go and you kneel, or you can sit in a chair if you can't kneel, but I choose to kneel behind the screen. You tell the priest what you did, and then the priest gives you like a piece of advice. Generally it's like something from the, sometimes it's a Bible verse, other times it is a just kind of
advice,
yeah.
like life advice.
Well, not life advice. It's always religious every time.
Does he
And-
like tell you to like, oh, I'll bring your sins up to God? He doesn't do that, or
No, he doesn't say that.
okay.
You tell him your sins.
And then
He gives you advice, and then he gives you penance, which is prayers that you have to do to be forgiven. It's not usually like an oppressive amount unless you did a lot of bad things in a really short amount of time, like I do sometimes. But you do that, and then after that, you have to say a prayer called an act of contrition, where you personally apologize to God for your sins, and the priest is acting, I guess, as like a liaison to God. That might be a way. That's probably a heresy. I don't know how to describe it. I probably shouldn't have said that, but it's.
Well, the reason, like, I was always taught, and this is a little not contradictory, but there's a lot of people view asking for forgiveness differently. The way I was taught by my stepdad was when you ask for forgiveness to God and you pray, that's for past, present, and future sins. Because David said in the Bible, I've been sinning since I was conceived. Like every second my body operates, I sin. Even consciously and unconsciously, you're going to sin. So when you ask God for forgiveness, and you should all the time, don't just do it once, right? But it's technically for past, present, and future sins. That's just the way I was taught. But that is, so that's interesting though. So like he doesn't say like, oh, I'll bring it up to God. He just gives you advice.
He gives you advice, and then you apologize to God. The
Okay.
prayer is not directed at the priest; it's directed at God.
Yeah.
And then you leave the confessional and you do your penance.
Because like the thing I saw from Hollywood movies, that's where I got the stereotype.
I mean, maybe me too.
Is because like, I'm sorry, but was I get the stereotype where it's just like the pastor or the priest would give you like
Priest.
the priest, my bad, will give you advice or something for the sin and try to help you get over that sin.
He does, but he doesn't really do. He gives you general advice.
Okay.
Now you can call a priest and set up an appointment for more specific advice,
Okay.
which is also
Oh, is there a time limit? Like you only be in there for like a couple minutes, or
No. If you make an appointment with a priest, you could be. I've been in there for like an hour.
okay.
I've done it
Okay.
before, and it's actually under the same pain of confession, where priests in the past have been martyred for not telling the government what's happened, what they heard in confession, and so it's the same thing with spiritual guidance. If you ask a priest,
Yeah.
if you're getting spiritual guidance from a priest and someone asks the priest what they said, they would rather get killed than tell them.
Damn.
So that actually makes me feel better. That was a good answer when you said the priest gives you advice for yourself to personally go and ask God. I actually like that. That was a good answer.
No, he gives you advice to improve on your sin, but you personally ask God for forgiveness before you leave the confessional.
I like that. That was a good answer. I like that. The only other thing that I'm not 100% on, is there a Catholic Bible that's different than the Holy Bible?
Catholic Bible is the Holy Bible.
Is there any differences between the Catholic Bible and then like the Holy NIV or King James Bible?
There's some books are added. Well, no, that's not right. Some books are taken away in the King James Bible.
Yes, but
I did not know that.
Yeah.
There's like some. I don't know which ones.
King James took out. Well, there's like hundreds of books. I don't know
Should
hundreds.
I just read NIV then? Because that's what I've been using.
Yeah, NIV's fine. NIV is the King James Bible.
Well,
it's just reworded to like more modern.
Because I've been using King James for all this time.
Well, we use a New American Bible,
Mhm.
and well, that's just what we use.
I would
Obviously,
say
if you're in a
that they're
different country, but like it's
practically all the same.
we have stuff that yours doesn't.
Okay.
And they're like the books that are in common are the same. We just have like a few
Added
books that they took away when
King James.
So it's
So really quickly, I actually was wondering about that, and that was my brother was all pissed off, like, that's why I don't believe in the Bible, because King James is an asshole, and he just picked and chose what he wanted in the Bible. And I brought that up to my professor, my biblical professor, and we had a long talk, and that's actually not what happened. King James brought in hundreds of translators, of philosophers, of biblical scholars, and they all collectively decided on a chronological Bible. They did take out a couple books though, which is the controversy, but a lot of the books in the Bible are practically like what it is, Maybe a couple more added stories of Jesus they took out, or maybe a couple more whatever.
I don't actually know what's in those
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Is that in there? In the Catholic Bible?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Those aren't those. No. We have more things. You have less things.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Is it more like in the Old Testament or the New Testament?
Or is it both?
I think there's some in both. Like the book,
okay.
I know that the book that I think is taken out in the other Bible is Tobit.
Tobit?
I think that's Old
I heard
Testament.
of that. And there's also the Book of Thomas as well.
Yeah.
How about Book of Enoch? Or that doesn't exist.
I don't know. I don't have a Bible with me.
Yeah.
So
I'm not bringing one on here because I don't know if these are the kind of things we want to talk about.
Well, Clarence, do you have anything else to ask him or no?
No.
Well, honestly, Eden, you answered really, really well.
I mean,
of like that. These were the questions that I would ask Paul, and he gave me good responses. You gave me good responses.
I mean, what am I supposed to do? Flip the table over?
No, and that's the point of this podcast. That's the point of us being worthy of Millionaire, to have not only freedom of speech, but to be completely open to all ideas. We debated Aiden, and we gave him some hard questions, and he responded really, really well. And I think you should be proud of
Is
yourself.
that a cup holder?
Yeah.
Show them. It's like a picnic table, and we have like a...
Oh, yeah. It's for the...
It's a Lego hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Aiden, that was really good. You answered really well on those questions. You really did.
Yeah.
And I'm happy about that. That, now if somebody comes up to you and asks you these hard questions, like now you'll have somewhat of an idea to tell them.
Well, if someone just comes up to me and starts asking me questions, it's probably not in good faith, and I probably wouldn't
Why
answer
not?
them.
You should answer them, and maybe that'll make them believe in God.
Well, it depends on the situation and their
Well,
body language.
I mean, yeah, if they're
If
being
I'm
a pushy or something.
If I'm walking around at school and someone goes up to me and goes, "Hey, Aiden, Aiden, what goes? Why do you kneel in front of a priest when only God can forgive your sin?" And it's like, I'm not gonna yell at you.
I look at the Christian Catholic communities, and that is one of the biggest things. And you answered that really well. And that gives actually even me some more clarification and more knowledge on how Catholicism works. And I really like that. So thank you a lot. And that's the point of this podcast. We're all going to be open and share our personal opinions and views to enhance all of our knowledge. I think we all learned something right now just from that conversation, didn't we? We did.
I felt like we were a little too pushy on Aiden.
That was weird for the first time.
It is weird,
Yeah.
but you got to put yourself in those weird situations to learn more.
That's the first episode. I don't know if people are going to listen to that.
Well, it'll be a great first episode. This might be second episode because the last episode stopped at like episode 2. Or, I'm sorry, 30 minutes.
Well, then this would be episode 1, part 2.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, this is what we need to do to lift up Millionaire, to enhance our knowledge, to enhance our wisdom, to enhance everything about us so that we can pick up Millionaire. We have to be knowledgeable on everything. I'm very happy I asked Aiden that. I learned something I didn't know. And that's going to enhance my knowledge. That's going to enhance his knowledge. I think this was an amazing conversation. And I did that on our first episode for a reason, to show that's the message of our podcast. Because that is our goal, to inspire people, to help people, to enhance everybody.
Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how people are going to feel when they listen to it.
There's nothing wrong. I just asked you some questions about Catholicism.
Yeah, you did.
And you answered good, and I like it.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, the kind of people who are going to end up listening to us. So I don't know. It's impossible to know how people are going to... I mean, unless you do something radically, like, stupid, then, like...
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. The goal of this podcast is to inspire people, to help people, to educate people, all, for glory of God, and to pick up Millionaire. That's the moniker of the channel. That's why I post fitness content to inspire kids to become the best they can, both physically, mentally, religiously.
Mjolnir isn't real, kids. Also, if you're a kid, I don't know if you should be listening to this.
There's going to come a time, maybe it'll come in a year, maybe it'll come in 2 years. I'm going to ask God, do you think I'm worthy to pick up Mjolnir? And he's either going to tell me, no, you have more work to do. Or he's going to tell me, sure. And then Mjolnir will come down on this table and maybe one of us will be able to pick it up.
Oh, I don't know if that's going to happen.
And hey, maybe God will tell me, hey, you need to become more financially stable. No, you have some mental work to do. You need to become mentally more strong. You have more goals in the physical in the gym. Maybe he'll tell me, I have relationships to tend to help, to mend. Some broken relationships to fix. Maybe there's someone I'm treating not that well. Maybe there's someone I need to help. There's all these things. Maybe I need to learn new lessons. But there will come a time where God will say, maybe you're, all right, fine. Maybe you're worthy enough to hold Mjolnir. That is the goal of this podcast. That's the goal of this YouTube channel. That's the goal of everything, of our lives, to pick up Mjolnir. And conversations like this, like me and Aiden and Clarence just had about Christianity versus Catholicism, is a perfect example. We need to promote free speech. We need to promote enhancing everyone's knowledge on all subjects. Left, right, Catholicism, Christianity, or even Islam, Buddhists, working out, not working out. We need to all enhance our knowledge and become as strong as mentally as possible.
Sure.
So yeah. What, you don't want to lift Mjolnir?
I'm tired.
Me too.
It's like 10 o'clock.
This is like my 4 p.m. I stay up late.
Ugh.
I actually need to wake up early at work. So, yeah.
Well, either I'm thinking about playing Elden Ring or going to sleep and getting up early to work out.
I'm going to bed.
I actually want to beat the Tree Sentinel.
I always want to play Elden Ring.
He means the one like by the spawn point, like at the very beginning of the game. I played that game for like 4 hours. I wasn't into it.
Quick question: is magic cheating? That's leave a comment down below if you think magic is cheating.
I know some basement dwelling. I don't know what the next word I'm allowed to use is.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Smigma brain is going to say that I have some kind of skill issue, but I have 50 hours in Returnal, and I like that game. You're not allowed to say I have a skill issue unless you've also beat Returnal. There you go.
Okay.
Is there any other final thoughts before we end the show? We're about 30-minute mark. We're at like an hour.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're at 27 minutes for this video.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, 30 minutes for the last video, and actually 36
Wait.
minutes.
What
I
time
know.
is it?
It's 10:22.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right. Outro. Any final thoughts, anybody? For
Tired.
anything we talked about? Or no?
That's weird.
It was good talking, and let's keep.
We'll plan the next theme. We need to have themes each episode. This theme of this episode was getting back together. How's everyone doing? And
Grilling me.
Thor picking up Mjolnir, and then side of asking Aiden Christianity versus Catholicism. That's
Catholics are Christians.
Yeah, it's a great first podcast.
Stop saying they're two different things.
Yeah, they're not, but like there are some differences.
Bro,
though.
stop picking. Never mind.
What? Christianity, Catholicism, like I said, we worship the same God. It's just little differences. That's all. He answered really well. I'm glad. I'm very happy about that. And that's the point of this podcast. I might even bring on more religious people to discuss, or even political. That's the point of podcasts. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed. Any other comments before we end off?
I want to go to bed.
I want to play Elden Ring or sleep.
Yeah. With the goal to pick up Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. That is the goal of this podcast. So, I'm going to walk back into my castle, or our castle. Kings of the Hill podcast. Our goal is to get into this castle, and the only way to do that is to pick up Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. And that's become the best versions of ourselves.
Alright.
We have to manually shut it off.
Oh, it's done. Good.
Yeah!